We're finally into the swing of the MLB season, and lots of MLB stars have gotten off to great starts. Yankees have gotten off like gangbusters with their offense. A couple of players tied with the league lead in home runs in the American League. Meanwhile, there are several stars across Major League Baseball that aren't off to such a great start. Jock Peterson, Marcus Semien for the Texas Rangers, Alec Boehm for the Philadelphia Phillies, among several other stars not getting off to the start of the season that they are hoping for. We'll dig into all of those guys that are getting off to that rough start and what these teams should do about it, and more next here at The Upside. And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us late on a Monday evening. Heck of a day for all of us out there, as I know you guys had to do some work today and just want to relax and talk some baseball. And that's what we're going to do. There's a lot going on around the world of Major League Baseball, so before we get into it, be sure to hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. It goes a long way to helping us out. Always want to grow this community as much as possible. It's always more fun when we have a bigger community with us anyway. More points of view, more people in the chat. It gets a lot more fun that way. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe if you are new here. Follow us on X at UpsideSN and on Facebook at Upside Sports Network. We'll start off with a little bit of news first, check into the standings and some of the headlines, and then we'll get into some of the struggling stars of Major League Baseball. But the one big headline over the weekend, Justin Steele is going to be on the injured list and is going to be out for the entirety of the season. His last start against the Texas Rangers was a gem, but ultimately that will be the last start of his 2025 season. Hopefully he comes back better than ever next year, but not exactly what he was looking for in 2025. He looked like he had kind of turned a corner a little bit, and I was looking forward to seeing what kind of pitcher he was going to ultimately become, but he'll be undergoing a season-ending elbow surgery. One other bit of injury news, Jose Siri has a fractured tibia, I believe. He is going to miss several months due to his injury as well. Cubs have gotten off to a great start with that offense, though. The pitching was a concern even before the injury to Steele. Now with Steele out, we're already seeing major national reporters already talking about the speculation that they were already going to be looking for some starting pitching with Steele. Now with Steele out for the entirety of the season, expect them to put the pedal all the way down on Sandy Alcantara and other free agent to be starters. Guys like Dylan Cease, Michael King, guys who could be traded at this year's MLB trade deadline. But let's go ahead and pull up our screen here and get into our chat. Welcome in VPCZX. Been a minute since I've seen you, but you are first. Congratulations. Welcome in Holly, Rafe. Appreciate you joining us. Too bad the same can't be said about the Blue Jays, but it's okay because they look better than the Rangers. Blue Jays certainly do look better, especially offensively. Pitching, I'd still take the Rangers. I still like what they've got as far as their mix anyway. But the Blue Jays are playing very well here to start the season at the top of the AL East currently. Imagine if the Padres actually had a full offseason, true, but they don't really have the money to go out there and spend. I think the days of them spending above the tax threshold are gone. I think they'll be more fiscally responsible, and I think they'll still be a very good team. I just think they're going to do it a little bit differently than what we've seen so far from A.J. Preller and company over the past 5-10 years now. Welcome back, Master Vinman. Appreciate you joining us once again. Cubs take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, getting killed by San Diego right now. They are off to a pretty good start on the season. Offense is certainly very good, but the Cubs are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with that starting rotation. Master Vinman, Cubs saying they will replace Steele from inside the organization. Cheap, cheap, cheap. No surprise there. They don't want to necessarily tip their hand like, hey, we're desperate for some starting pitching. You weren't exactly expecting them to go, hey, we're all in on whoever the starter is that we can get in here. That means any team that was interested in trading a starting pitcher would fleece the Chicago Cubs. I don't think they're going to necessarily put that out there. Now, I do think they'll address the needs of their starting staff at the deadline, probably beforehand, but I think they need to move a little bit earlier than expected here. So do not expect them to wait until the end of trading season anyway for them to actually add some starting pitching. VBCZX, he's my favorite, and yes, it's with you, player is Sandy Alcantara. Yes, Rafe, Marlins having a better record than the Orioles so far was not on my bingo card. True, but the Orioles, while they've had their struggles anyway, they also got a few games where they were horribly umpired, would be a nice way to put it. I believe there were 17 bad calls in that game on Sunday, I believe it was. I'm trying to remember when it was, or what the day it was anyway. But Blue Jays and Orioles, there was 17 bad calls in the game, 14 of which went against the Baltimore Orioles. But they need to get their bats turned around a little bit. Their pitching needs to be a little bit better. And ultimately, I think they will get there. But I agree with you there. I don't think anybody had the Marlins with a better record than the Orioles at this point. Rafe, are the reports of Stroman being cut ASAP true after somebody come back from injury or something? No, he will be staying with the Yankees at the current time. Now, as far as them trying to offload his salary, I think that's a definite. But I don't think they're looking to just cut him at any point here. I think they're going to try to maximize his value, however that means they have to do it. If that means they have to pay 99 cents of the dollar to be able to trade him and be able to get whatever value they want back out of it, I think they'd prefer that over just outright cutting him, even if he has a terrible few games here. All right, let's go ahead and check in on the standings first anyway. We'll start in the AL East. Yankees on top, 9-7. But overall, the division is still very, very tight. From first to last, only 2.5 games separate the group there. Tigers kind of causing a little bit of separation anyway at the AL Central after everybody started 2-4. White Sox, of course, in the bottom there at 5.5 games back. A little bit surprised they're only 5.5 games back with as little offense as they've had. Their pitching has been pretty good. AL West, that's kind of a roller coaster of a division so far. Angels currently on top. Rangers currently in the second spot right now, half game back. Let me update this screen just to make sure I got the most up-to-date with the results from today. I do. Okay. Rangers, though, can't score any runs. They're giving up 70 runs now from their pitching staff. They're only scoring 51. They've got several of the league's worst hitters in their lineup. They're going to have to come up with some solutions and quick here if they're going to get this thing back on the right track offensively, because this pitching ain't going to hold up forever, my friend. The Seattle Mariners kind of crawl out of the bottom of this division with a 3-game sweep at home of the Texas Rangers. Texas never plays well in Seattle, so we kind of knew going into the series they were probably going to win at least 2 of those games. But the Rangers not being able to get a win out of DeGrom or Eovaldi in that series, not boding well for the Rangers for the next few weeks here. Astros, their offense has finally started to turn it around here. Only 2.5 games back of the Angels for the division lead. I don't think anybody believes the Angels are going to hold on to this one. And then, of course, the A's playing in a AAA ballpark, essentially. All those runs given up, even with their great offense that I'm expecting to eventually get it into gear, They're still decent so far, but they haven't done anything near where I expected them to. They're certainly bringing up the rear in the AL West. On the NL East side, Mets 11-5 so far. Phillies dropped a couple of games here. They're 9-7. Marlins a winning record right now. I don't think anybody had that one. Nationals 6-10, kind of about where I expected them to be. They're going to be a young, inexperienced team that could make some headlines in the second half as those young guys get more seasoning. Braves 5-10. They're finally figuring out how to win some games here. 5-5 in their last 10. So at least their free fall has at least stopped for them. Cubs in their offense, 116 runs scored already in 18 games. That's incredible. 73 runs allowed. Their pitching has been pretty good as well. The rest of the division is around that 500 mark, with the Reds now vaulting into second place. Padres, though, one of the best, if not the best, in the league so far through 16 games, 13-3 record, 4-game win streak right now, 7-3 in their last 10. The run scoring has been good, but look at that. Look at those runs allowed. They've only allowed 43 runs. The pitching has been the story for them, and if they continue to get this level of pitching here, they may not decide to trade any of their guys at this point. Let me try to catch up on a few of these comments here. VPCZX, Edward Rogers III, when he hears this week. Rafe, I know it's super early, but what's your biggest surprise right now outside of the Braves? Good caveat there. Outside of the Braves would be the Angels winning the division right now. I'd say the other surprise is the Padres winning their division right now, and the Dodgers in third place. I don't think anybody predicted that one a couple of weeks into the season. It's a long season, though. I think those both will sort themselves out. As far as trends that might hold up through the entirety of the season, I'm surprised that the offense for the Tigers is performing as well as it is. 80 runs scored so far isn't exactly fantastic, but it's certainly better than the rest of the division for sure. Everybody in the AL West, they're a pretty good offensive team so far. I just wonder when that offense starts to come back down to earth. But so far, so good for the Detroit Tigers. Master Man, is Robert Venman still available? If so, is he worth it? Yes, and whatever he wants, honestly. I would, if I was a team that was in contention looking for a good reliever, I'd be looking to try to add one of his caliber. He's literally out there for anybody to sign, and I would love to have him if I'm a Cubs fan, Rangers fan, Braves fan, Yankees fan. He's a very good reliever, closing ability as well. Cannot go understated here, but he's primarily an eighth inning setup guy at this point. Can even be used in a seventh inning role if you have two ace level relievers back there that you're relying on. He is that good of a reliever. He should be on a club. He's available but doesn't want to pitch for full season. I have not heard about the full season portion of it there, Holly. I did not hear that part of it. Too old? No, he's one of the more consistent pitchers out of the bullpen. They're notoriously mercurial, as we've talked about in the bullpen. He is one such guy that is not that up and down performer back there. Rafe, Cubs look at Lance Lynn. He is retired, unfortunately. Hopefully he enjoys his retirement there. He changed his entire body up over the offseason. I was surprised nobody signed him. He may unretire at this point, but maybe the Cubs could lure him out of retirement if they give him the payday he was ultimately looking for as well. Way outside the loop, I guess. Maybe. Welcome in, Lucas. Appreciate you joining us. Let's try to wrap up the rest of this conversation here. The Diamondbacks 9-7 here. Also a really good team in the NL West. Rockies 3-12, worst team in the league so far. I think they were shut out over the weekend. One of the worst offensive stretches we've seen by a Major League Baseball team in a short period of time. Scores tonight anyway, games that are still going on. Let me update these scores before we finish off here. Padres 9-4 winners so far against the Chicago Cubs. The Rockies have scored a couple now to make it interesting against the Dodgers, losing 3-5. The rest of the scoreboard anyway, Pirates, their offense finally wakes up, 10-3 win over the Nationals there. Phillies struggle once again, 10-4 losers against the Giants. Rays open up a can against the Red Sox, 16-1. Royals, their offense continues to struggle in some of these games here, 4-1 losers in New York. Braves get the win in Toronto, good win for them anyway, 8-4 win there. Mets 5-1 winners over the Twins. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a good stretch here for the Mets. Even though they're leading the NL East, I don't think they played their best. I don't think they played to their ability yet, which is a scary thought there, considering they're currently winning the division. Astros lose tonight in St. Louis, 8-3. 14 hits in the game for the Cardinals, good for them. And Tigers open up a can against that Brewers pitching staff. Not enough to get it done, especially Skubal on the mound for the Tigers. That's your scoreboard for tonight. Now, like I said, I wanted to get in some of the struggling hitters from across Major League Baseball, so let me go ahead and pull up some of the worst hitters that we've seen so far this season. We'll start with average. I know people don't like to look at average, but I do. I like to see the ball in play. So guys like Jock Peterson, Marcus Semien, Lamont Wade, we're talking about Tommy Pham, Christian Yelich, Lourdes Gurriel, guys that we expect to do much better. Guys like Carlos Correa, Jake Berger, Alec Bohm, Randy Rosarena is kind of a low average guy, but a lot of power there. Luis Robert usually is a better player. But just look at how many guys are off to rough starts here. And Peterson probably the worst of all of them, and Simeon's not far behind. One other stat I like to look at is OPS. How much impact are you having on the game? And just look how poor it's been. Jock Peterson with only 3 hits on the season, 5 walks. His on-base percentage is a little bit elevated because of those 5 walks, but he's literally doing nothing in his at-bats. And I think he's in a 0 for 29 stretch right now, something like that, over his last 10 games or something. He needs to be sat down at the very least, if not optioned to the minor leagues or put on the injury list, something to where he can get back to the cages. Remember the first series of the season, we talked a lot about Rafi Devers, how he looked like he couldn't time up anything. Jock Peterson is that right now, and then some. He needs to go find a place and just get his head right and find a swing back here. He was a decent force in the Rangers lineup in spring training, but it just has completely fallen apart here for Jock Peterson. The other big worry that I have, not just for this season, but for the future years, is Marcus Semien. We thought that he's going to do his usual Marcus Semien thing, which is 1 year great, 1 year not so much, 1 year great, 1 year not so much. Last year was not a very good season for him, and he's following up with an even worse campaign. He's off to a 123 average and he's below a 400 OPS. That's not enough out of Marcus Semien when you're giving him so much money to be a catalyst at the top of the lineup. I think there's going to be some changes to this lineup. I think Bochy's going to is going to try to stick to his guys as long as he can. But if they're continuing to put up numbers like this, you can't stick with them too long. But it's not just limited to the Rangers guys. Look at Carlos Correa, one of the 10 worst OPSs among qualifiers in MLB right now. Not exactly what the Twins thought they were paying for when they gave him all that money. A young guy that was hoping to get some stability there in the Mets lineup, not off to a great start either anyway, a 138 average. Jake Berger, another Ranger who was brought in to bring in some power to this Rangers lineup, has brought a couple of home runs, but hasn't been able to get on base, hasn't been seeing the strike zone very well as well. One other thing I want to show is the strikeouts here. I was updating this page, refreshing the page as I was doing it earlier, and I was looking at Toglia's stats there. He had 28 strikeouts. He added another one. The second I clicked on refresh, he added another one. So he's just not getting the ball in play enough here. Riley Green off to a 25 strikeouts so far that he's succumbed to. Not exactly great there. Nathaniel Lowe, never really seen as a big strikeout guy, already up to 22 so far. Rafi Devers, second in the league. Some surprising names on this list early in the season as well. James Wood, a young guy. Kind of expect those young guys to have their issues anyway. Austin Riley has his issues with strikeouts, but so far a 288 average. He's certainly corrected things from earlier in the year. Christian Walker, anyway, for the Houston Astros, 20 strikeouts so far, only hitting 172. Not exactly what you're expecting to pay for a first baseman of his caliber. Largely graded as the best first baseman in the game defensively, and with the combination of his offense, the best by value anyway, first baseman last year. So he's got to bounce back here for the Astros if their offense is going to be able to get back to what they're hoping it will be. Rafe, is JD Martinez, he's still out there. He is not retired. He is looking for a job right now. If the Rangers were able to bring him in for, say, $1 million or $2 million, I would not be surprised if the Rangers at least kicked the tires on something like that and did the injured list for Jock Peterson and just figured it out and just see who ultimately makes the roster as the better hitting option. Right now, I think the Rangers are going to try one last time here with Marcus Semien at the top of this lineup, and if it continues down this road for another week or two, we could see him hitting much lower in the lineup here very, very quickly. But I think they'll try to keep this lineup together in the order that it's in right now, as long as they can, because like I said, Bochy likes to stick to his guys. What's happening with the Red Sox? They're just having an up and down start to the season. It's very peculiar, the start they've had. I will give you that. Garrett Crochet, 7 no-hit innings yesterday anyway. And then, not so good today, obviously. Most likely a Yankee next year. For Kyle Tucker, Kyle Tucker's having a really great start to the season. He has a real chance to put an MVP next to his name whenever he goes into free agency next year. He will be the number one bat on the free agent market next year. It's unquestionable right now. I think he's going to get at least 450. I think he's going to get at least 500 million. We could see him get into the neighborhood of 550 depending on, age factors and which teams are in, etc. But he's going to do very well in free agency. Yankee, I would say that's less likely than some of the other options that are out there, but the Yankees will certainly be among the contenders for him. Rafe, I think a month into the season we were talking about how well Berger and Simeon and others are hitting. Just a horribly slow start. Honestly, I hope for that as a Rangers fan. I just don't think we're going to see it. I do not have faith in Simeon right now or Peterson figuring it out on their own. I'm hopeful that with a day off and an extra day off with no game scheduled for the Rangers today, that Simeon was able to get his head right and be able to get into a little bit more of a locked-in start here after the day off. But he needs to shake things up here. I just don't think it's going to happen relatively quickly. Berger, I have my doubts for as well, but we'll see how the rest of the year progresses. I hope you all re-sign him, to be honest. I hope the Cubs get him because he was that good for the Cubs here over the first 3 weeks of the season. I'm hopeful he stays there, but I don't think he will. I think the Cubs are notoriously cheap on contracts like that, and they ultimately let their guys walk when they get up to that level over the last 10, 20 years anyway, or 10, 15 years anyway. I just hope they keep him, but I'm realistic. I don't think they will. But just look at how terrible some of these options are here. Max Muncy for the Dodgers off to a rough start here with average, etc. Let's look at, let's see how many at-bats and just see who's leading the league at-bats. It's going to be a lot of the Cubs guys here and Dodgers because of the international series. And then just see if any names stick out here. Dansby Swanson off to a 178 average, not exactly great. OPS is at least decent-ish for as low average as he has. Luis Arraez, 282, that's low for him. He needs to pick it up a little bit for his offense to factor in the way they're hoping for there. Let's see, a 188 average for Brent Rooker. Again, we expected last year to be a career year for him. So far, it's right about what we thought it was going to happen. Surprised it fell off this much so early, but I think he will be able to correct it as well. Nobody else really stands out there among the guys who've taken the most at-bats. Who are your stolen base leaders? O'Neill Cruz at 8, Pete Crow Armstrong 7, Mangum at 7 as well. Teams are running a little bit more this year, as we would expect with the larger base paths. And honestly, I think they need to do it even more. I think they still don't take enough advantage of the larger base paths, the number of throws over, the pitch clock. I don't think they take enough advantage of it because it should be a bigger portion of the game than it already is. Rafe, I want to see Framber and others leave the Astros. Let me watch and laugh at their downfall. I won't necessarily laugh. I do want teams to do well in general. I do get your point, though, as a Rangers fan. I think they're still going to be a good team, though, even if they lose Framber. I think they'll still be a good team in the next year after that when they lose another piece. It's just what they've done. Now, do they have the prospects necessarily to do that like they used to? No. But so far, so good for them. They've been able to thread the needle anyway as far as this process goes for them. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll be back live tomorrow for you guys around the same time, so be sure to hit that like on the thumbs up at the bottom of the page. But we'll get into a little bit more lineup construction tomorrow with some of these struggling players that we've seen. Let's look at one other thing that I wanted to point out. On the opposite end of the spectrum was some of the home run guys. Look at how many guys in the Yankees are at the top of this list as well. Tommy Edman, I don't think anybody had him on their bingo card, is tied for the league lead along with Aaron Judge for most home runs as well. Mike Trout is hitting very well, being healthy so far to the year, but only a 196 average, but the power numbers are coming through, which is good for him. Let's see here. As far as average, let's go to the positive side of the spectrum. Jonathan Aranda, probably the best average right now. That will come down. George Springer finding the fountain of youth along with Paul Goldschmidt there as well. Fernando Tatis, 361. Pete Alonso, up to 345 over a 1100 OPS there. Jacob Wilson looks like the real deal out there for the Athletics. He's going to be a powerhouse bat for them in their lineup for years to come. Let's see here. I love watching the Rangers steal bags, something we never see. It's amazing. They need to do it a little bit more. They aren't exactly the fastest team, but they have enough guys who have speed. They should be stealing more bases than they already are. Offense is looking bad for the most part. I will agree there. There's a lot of guys that are struggling, as we would expect to start the season. But again, hopefully it's just the slow start and shaking off the cobwebs. But there's some guys that I have a lot more worry about than others. Simeon, Peterson, Alec Boehm as well. Let me show you the leaders for OPS right now. He's in second right now as far as one of the worst. Candelario is in this group here. Luis Garcia, who's supposed to be a nice future piece for the Nationals, struggling as well. Max Muncy, both of them, the A's and Dodgers versions of him. Christian Walker, Larnach, Cassis, Hoskins. Guys that you'd expect to at least be mashing for power are certainly not doing enough of that, if at all. Imagine if Kyle Farmer carrying the Rockies couldn't be. All right. All right. One last check just to see if anything else has finished up for the evening. Padres extended their lead. They're now lead 10-4 over the Cubbies. Dodgers still leading 5-3. All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hit that thumbs up. We'll be live with you guys again tomorrow night around 11 o'clock. Stay safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night.